Hi, I'm John Peters, and in this video I'm going to show you how I mount a panel. So what I'm talking about is often I will do paintings on 1/4" plywood or masonite, or actually I don't really use this, but I'm sure you've seen that material. It's canvas board. They sell it in your art supply stores. Any of those things that I just mentioned, if you want to show them in a float frame, they need to be mounted to something a little bit heavier that can hold a screw. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now this is a little seascape painting that I made, and I originally painted this on 1/8" masonite. Now you can see that this is also on 1/8" masonite. If I wanted to attach it to the frame, there's really nothing to hold it there. There's nothing that I can screw into because there's just no material. So what I needed to do was attach this piece of 1/2" plywood to the back of the painting. Since the painting measures exactly 5 by 7 inches, and I cut the panels to that size for a reason, because it's a standard size. But anyway, since the panel measures 5 by 7, I'm going to cut the mounting panel, the piece of plywood that I'm going to attach to the back of the painting, at 1/4" inch less. So it'll be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Now I've already ripped my piece of plywood on the table saw to 4 3/4 inches wide. And I'm assuming that there are a lot of people out there who don't have a table saw or are not comfortable using a table saw. And if that's the case, call around in your neighborhood and see if you can find a lumberyard or a mill shop that will cut the plywood for you. Now they may charge you a little bit of money to do that, but if you were to buy a whole sheet of plywood, 4 by 8 feet, that's a lot of material. And then the only thing that you would need to do is cross-cut your pieces to length. And for that, you can use a chop saw or even a circular saw. I've measured and marked my piece of plywood, and now I'm going to cut it with the chop saw. Okay, well, if you don't have a chop saw, let me show you a little trick to cut a nice straight line with a circular saw. Now you can get a nice cut with a circular saw, and you can see that I've put down 2 sacrificial pieces of wood, which means the blade will hit them. Now I also have what's called a speed square or a framing square, and I'm going to use this as a fence. And then I'll line my circular saw up on the mark, holding the framing square in place and running the saw along the edge of the framing square. Now that my panel's cut, the only thing left to do is to glue the painting to the panel. And I want to make sure that I don't make a mess here by using too much glue and having it squeeze out and maybe hitting the front of the painting. So what I like to do is mark a line about 3/4 inch in on the panel and only put the glue in that center area. And what I'm using is Elmer's wood glue. Now I have a piece of packing foam on my shop table, and then I'm simply going to lay the painting face down and then put the panel on top of the painting and then just weight it down with some weights. Now sometimes the panel will have a tendency to want to shift and move on you, and to keep that from happening, I'll put a dab of hot glue in each corner. And the hot glue will just hold it while the Elmer's wood glue sets up, and then I'll put a little more weight on it. While I'm waiting for the glue to set up on that little still life painting, I can attach this little seascape painting here. And it's simply done by screwing through the back of the stretcher on the frame into the 1/2" piece of plywood that was glued to the back of the painting. I use a small piece of foam padding to apply downward pressure when I attach the screw. Okay, well that's about it. You can see how you get a really nice finished look when you float a painting in a frame. I hope you found the video useful. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.